Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I want to answer the long-time historical question. Is Demon Slayer even a good show? Well, let's go find out. You can bring a snack and enjoy the painting and the video while I analyze this very important question for you. But I will warn you, this video contains serious spoilers. The biggest problem is definitely and obviously the story. There are a few factors to write a good story, for example plot, depth, plot twist, character development, and some other factors. But Demon Slayer has none of them. Demon Slayer is a simple story, there is no secret plot twist or depth. The biggest plot twist in the show was that Muzan and Ubuyashiki are distant relatives. Other than that, there is no sudden turn in the story, everything is plain and simple. If you understand the plot in season 1, you will understand it forever. There is no change, no sudden understanding, just a simple story. Which makes it boring. After 4 seasons, the story is the same as it was. There's no new excitement, nothing to talk about later with friends. We thought there is this Demon King and Tanjiro wants to heal Nezuko, and there is this Demon King and Tanjiro wants to heal Nezuko. That's it. When you want to explain the plot of an anime like AOT or Naruto to a friend who hasn't watched them, you need to bring a whole whiteboard and write everything down with timelines. But Demon Slayer takes away that fun. It only takes 5 minutes for someone who hasn't watched the show to understand the whole plot of it. The story has no depth, no deeper meaning, no great impact or feelings. Even the demons are later forgotten in the future and Tanjiro and his friends are nothing but legends. So the story doesn't even have a deeper meaning for itself. It doesn't make us think twice about our decisions or our life or our world. It doesn't even have some deep movements within it, for example humans joining in and putting aside their differences to fight demons. No, we see demon slayers arguing with each other or even disrespect each other. There are only a bunch of characters that are only there for revenge, and there are also a bunch of demons. The only time we see a bond is when they accept Tamayo's help and when they accept Nezuko, which on neither of them the story keeps focusing. Tamayo just gets totally off screen and we are told that she's working with Shinobu. Nezuko actually has a bond, but we only see cute and funny moments for her, which takes away the depth. For example, we don't see a scene of Sanemi thinking back to his mother and thinking maybe all demons aren't the same. No, Nezuko is mostly sleeping and when she's awake, she's only around a certain group of people who have accepted her. Watching the show doesn't leave any special effect on the audience. It doesn't make you lie awake at night and think about what happened and what was the meaning. I doubt someone would even keep thinking about it even 10 minutes after watching the episode. The dialogues aren't deep, the scenes aren't deep, the story isn't deep. It's like everything is on the surface and you can't see it all, and you don't have to think and analyze anything. And one of the other main factors is character development, which Demon Slayer seriously lacks. We have a bunch of characters and their only development is dying. The most important character to have development is obviously the main character, and Tanjiro absolutely has none. Tanjiro has this ridiculous amount of kindness since first episode. He is kind to everyone and wants to fight for justice. And that's it! He doesn't understand better things about the world or is forced to violate his own morals for greater good. No! He's just kind, and this too much kindness is even annoying sometimes. Demons' backstories is indeed sad, but for Tanjiro to forgive them and make us pity them doesn't make sense. This makes the show unrealistic and hard to relate with. To say he doesn't change because he's a good and kind person isn't a good excuse. Because for example, Deku from My Hero Academia also is a kind and just person. But we see how his character develops and he keeps his kindness at the same time. He understands that world isn't black and white and he has to sacrifice his own morals for the greater good and do things he regrets. But Tanjiro just stays the same. It's like a honey or milkshake that's too sweet and the taste doesn't change at all. A food is tasty when you can taste different flavors with each bite, but Tanjiro lacks those flavors. But not just Tanjiro, but others as well. Nezuko turned into a demon, but it didn't make any of her personality change. There was a lot of potential to use, Nezuko could have ended the war between humans and demons as a demon who remained human, but she only changed a few amount of people's mind. Before and after turning to a demon, she has the same personality and type of mindset. She could have, for example, turned a bit bitter or wiser or even depressed because of what happened. Her demon form doesn't add anything to her personality, only cool scenes and aura, which is the only thing Japanese people think Western audience like. I have explained about that in my other video about JJK, you can watch that one too. It would have been interesting if she could talk and share her feelings. None of the Hashiras have any actual developments either. The only one they have is getting kinder due to Tanjiro's insane kindness effect. But they only share that kindness with Tanjiro himself, not other times. And it feels like that their development is actually about Tanjiro, not them. The only character that had a development and keeps that development and doesn't go back to factory settings whenever Tanjiro is not around is Kanao. She is the only one whom Tanjiro effect on her makes sense. This whole Tanjiro effect thing is ridiculous. Tanjiro is just ridiculously too kind. And I don't understand how his behavior could affect even demons or someone like Tomioka who has lost his sister and best friend. This doesn't make sense and the writer has given too much credit and power to Tanjiro's kindness. Tanjiro effect is run by plot armor, like many other things that are run by plot armor in this show. This show's plot armor is so much and so weak at the same time. 2 of the upper moons committed suicide. Like what? And one of them got chopped in one move and one of them was cut due to Tanjiro's great sense of smell. Tank can stop his heartbeat with his muscles to stop the poisoning from spreading? If I say that to a doctor, they will put me in psychiatric facility. But at the same time, only 3 of the Hashiras survive. No one from the main crew dies. It's like the writer didn't want to kill any of the main characters and used all the plot for them. They waited for the Hashiras to die and then they said, okay, now we can use the plot armor. Have you ever seen a symbol in a show and thought to yourself, oh my god, this is a symbol of that? Wow, that's so deep. Well, you won't get like this in Demon Slayer because all the symbolism are just too obvious. Kokoshiba uses moon breathing, Yurishi uses sun breathing. Muzan's weakness is sun, Yurishi uses sun breathing. Zenitsu knows only the first form of thunder breathing, Kaikaku knows all of them except for the first form of the thunder breathing. Yurishi was as fast as a man with 6 hands and Kokoshiba has 6 eyes. You see, it's all too obvious. As I said, this story is on the surface and you can't see everything. There is no deep symbolism, no foreshadowing, no impact, no depth, no plot twist, and no development. It lacks all the elements. But one other major thing that could have added some of these elements to the story was Demon King Tanjiro. Tanjiro suddenly turning into a demon himself changed the story and it was a good and major plot twist. But they brought him back. I don't understand, why would you turn him into a demon for 5 chapters just so that the characters could tell him how much they love him and how much they miss him? It was just ridiculous, done for no reason and served no purpose. And he was just convinced by words and brought back? That's not how demons work. That moment was already emotional. Most Hashiras were dead and Muzan was finally defeated. There was no need for Tanjiro to turn into a demon so we could see others telling him how much they love him and how good he is and how much they miss him. But that's enough roasting this story and let's say some of the good things about it. Every story has its own odds and cons and Demon Slayer is no different. Demon Slayer might have problems but we also have to admit that the characters are interesting. The variety of characters and all of the different backstories for each one and each one's backstory is so interesting to be honest. Characters' motives, characters' feelings, their final scenes, and how we get introduced to them one by one in each season. It is cool. Not just the Hashiras but the demons as well. Muzan's backstory himself or Akaza's motives, and finally Kokoshiba's reunion with Yurichi and giving up. Yurichi himself is a really interesting character, a ghost that formed a story. Or Lady Tamayo, maybe they don't have any developments, but they are really interesting characters. and the audience gets really interested in them, and their death scenes leaves great impact on the audience. Another aspect of the characters that is really interesting is their stories in the future. For example, Sanemi and Genya are now cops, or Mitsury and Obanai run a little cafe now, or how Yushiro is the only demon that is still living and he is slowly forgetting Tamayo's face, so he constantly paints her face. The bond between characters is also beautiful. Mitsuri and Obanai are in love, but they never get the chance to say that to each other, and at the end they died in each other's arm and they hugged each other so hard that they had to bury them together. Yushiro and Tamayo promised to marry each other in the next life. Sanemi finally apologized to Genya when he was dying in his arms, but Genya lost his hearing ability first, so he couldn't hear his apology. Shinobu dying by the same demon who killed her sister. The characters are related to each other in base. The same person who led the demon into Gyume's orphanage is Zenitsu's bully. Rengoku's father freed Obanai. Sanemi loved Shinobu's sister. Duma was in love with Inosuke's mother. The character designs are also amazing. The variety of styles are really interesting to the audience. And the simple rivalries like Kokoshiba and Yoriichi or Zenitsu and Kaikaku and Yoriichi and Muzan is interesting. Although the characters are interesting, but the interesting aspect of characters is leaning mostly towards the Hashiras and demons, and the main characters don't really hold any interest, which is another kind of flaw. Now the controversial question. Is Demon Slayer carried by animation? Well, the answer is yes, to be honest, it is. What makes Demon Slayer stand out between other anime is its amazing animation. Imagine you have 5 animes on the table and you want to talk about them. Attack on Titan, Naruto, One Piece, Black Clover, and Demon Slayer. The only thing Demon Slayer has to say among the rest of them is its animation. Most of the edits of Demon Slayer in TikTok is done because of the animation and fight scenes. In terms of a story, Demon Slayer doesn't have much to say actually. Maybe just those few characters that are actually interesting. Demon Slayer hype wouldn't last because this animation is unique for now. In few years, animations like this will be mid and God knows how good animations will be then, and Demon Slayer will be forgotten. But what truly won't be forgotten is a story and plot. That's why people are still watching Naruto and One Piece or Dragon Ball even though so many years have passed from when they have started. So, conclusion. Is Demon Slayer a great story? No. Is it a bad story? No. Some people might enjoy the simple writing of a show and don't want to think too deep of it, and the show is just a casual hobby to them, nothing really important. Some people might enjoy simple storylines and fight scenes, and this is perfect for their taste. Of course, Demon Slayer doesn't have an outstanding story like Attack on Titans, and it has many flaws, but it doesn't make it a bad story. Demon Slayer is good and interesting, and remember, animes and shows are hobbies and they're supposed to make you happy. They aren't supposed to be something really professional. Not every show has to win an Oscar. I think Demon Slayer is a great show to recommend to someone as their first anime. It's not too deep or complicated, doesn't put the expectations too high, and it's interesting. I would rate Demon Slayer a 6.8 out of 10, and I think for a show to spend the time with, it's a good show. But what do you think? Tell me your opinion in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!